Welcome to the Africa2100 Podcast, where we demystify entrepreneurship to make it accessible to the person on the street. I am your host, Chudi Obiaya. This season, we are following the journey of those who were in the diaspora, but since returned to the continent and are building impactful ventures. In today's episode, we see why resourcefulness isn't just helpful. It's indeed an essential intangible every successful entrepreneur must master. Joining us today is Olabisi Oyeleye. Welcome, Bisi.
Hello.
So, Bisi, can you start off by telling us what does Olabisi mean?
Born into honor.
Born into honor.
Into honor. Yes.
So I'm in the presence of honor.
Yes.
I am privileged.
Indeed.
So, Bisi, how would you introduce yourself to our audience? To who is Bisi and what work does Bisi do?
Bisi is a wife, a mother, a Christian, a pharmacist with a deep interest in skincare.
Oh, nice. Are there any childhood memories, Bisi, that's kind of influenced who you are today? Any childhood memories you can remember?
Childhood memories. Okay. I've always liked tinkering with things. I've liked nature, beauty of nature, things just, and I like people. I actually really love people. You know, I enjoy being with people. I love being in their presence, being able to talk to people, being able to, assist people. So yeah, maybe that's why I'm in this type of profession. Sorry?
Where do you think that comes from? Your love for people, your being a people person.
Well, maybe my family, because we're always doing something, I had a sort of a mixed background, how would I say, I came from two independent people who decided to have me. They were not married. So I would spend time with my mother's side and her people. I would spend time with my father's side and their people. So I had a lot of people I was interacting with and knowing how to navigate, yes. So yes, I come from a very big family and just navigating different people, different backgrounds. And they actually were very different backgrounds. It was fun. But they were both in this, in the normal Lagos society. So yeah, it was fun. But diverse.
When you say you come from two independent people,
they had a good relationship, very friendly relationship, but they didn't really want to stay together, as husband and wife. Yes. So, and they decided that I would spend time with one for a while, a few years, then I'll spend time with the other for a few years. So I have a good relationship with the two sides, my siblings from my mother's and the siblings from my father and their relatives. So yeah.
Fascinating. And you remain in touch with both sides of your large family?
Both sides, constantly. I mean, obviously you'll be closer to your mother's side, but yes, I'm constantly in touch with both sides.
So when did you realize that healthcare or pharmacy was your calling and the right path for you?
In fact, I can always even visualize when I realized it. It was in the chemistry lab. I was very sad, but I was very excited about chemistry. It all made sense, everything fitted. And I thought, oh, wow, I would like to. I don't know why I thought of pharmacy, because I guess my father was a doctor. And I knew for sure I didn't want to be a doctor. And when I now, realized I enjoyed chemistry, and I was like, oh, wow, wouldn't it be great to be a pharmacist? So very early on, I decided I wanted to be a pharmacist. Very early on.
Oh, wow.
I don't think I was up to 60. It was before my O levels, for sure.
So you did your O levels at Holy Child? Was that where?
No. In England.
In England. Oh,
Yes.
so you actually left Nigeria.
Yes, I left
Help us
Nigeria when I
understand.
was about 14.
Oh, wow. Can you
Yeah, when
take
I
us
was
through that journey, how that decision was made and how you ended up in the UK at such an early age?
Yes, I wasn't doing too well academically. And so, as I said, I guess I had spent time in with my mom. Then 7, I went to my father's side, and she was not satisfied with the level of education I got there. I understand the other side in that there are so many children, and you cannot single out a child and send them to a type of school. So when I returned to my mom, I really was not doing well academically, even though I was working very hard. And then she, being an older mother, couldn't really, cope with doing all the, the required lessons and whatnot. There's one thing, she would send me to a lesson teacher, but if they don't do the right thing, she wouldn't know what to do. So very early on, she decided that, I would need to go back a year and then start again. So yes, went very early, and they took me back a year, and then I received a lot of extra training. It was amazing actually. Elocution classes and all the works, maths lessons. It was a crazy
So
one year.
was your mother in the UK then, or was she in
No,
Nigeria
Nigeria.
when?
Nigeria.
So when you were sent at 14 to the UK, who were you with? Help
A
us
boarding house,
understand.
full-time boarding.
Full-time boarding.
Time. Then initially she was going to let me stay with some relatives. Then decided to there are companies that take in people like me for school holidays. So you would stay with them. They would organize like a guardian for you during your holidays. So really, the first year I didn't even come back to Nigeria. So
What was that experience like, living at such a young age and living by yourself, far away from the shores you were familiar with?
actually, yeah, I understand. The first year I thought she really hated me. So I just couldn't believe it. Because first time I'm leaving all these white people, and I'm like, I remember thinking of the characters of my comics at home. Oh, this one is like Bessie Bunter, this one is like whatever it was, Charlie Boy. I was just, yes, the first year was tough. The first year was tough. But after that, it wasn't anymore. Because it was a small school. So the whole school, I don't think we were up to 300. So they really were very kind people. They looked after you very well. So after that first year, the initial shock to the system, because she didn't let me home at all. So it was all white for 1 year, not seeing anybody. But after that, yeah, it wasn't so bad. It wasn't.
Are there any experiences that still resonate in your memory from that period?
Um, it was as if they were reshaping me. Yeah. So that's where I learned to do so many things, read the newspaper, talk in a certain way, deportment, sit in a certain way, so there was a whole lot of reshaping. And then it was also the place where I learned maths, because I thought I didn't know maths, because when I was in school in Nigeria, the best I did was 18%, and I was so excited and so happy that I did very well with 18. I was that proud of my non-achievement. So you can imagine.
Ignorance is bliss, they say.
It's bliss. Obviously, my mother wasn't having that. So I had intense coaching, I would say. I would finish classes. This chap would be there in the evenings, he would be there in the weekends. Then I had this lady that was teaching me how to speak. My whole mouth hurt so much. Yes, it was an experience.
What
Yes.
about community? How did you build community? Because you left your community back home in Nigeria. You were here amongst people who you were meeting for the first time. How did
Yeah,
you survive for the duration?
I survived. It was tough. To be quite honest, it was tough. Now thinking about it, was pretty tough in that I think the second year, I'm not even sure, the second year, my mom met a lady who's really a very lovely, lovely lady. And and she was like, oh, I would look after her, I have a home, and my kids are much older. They're in England. But unfortunately, it was not like that because she was not there most of the time. So I was with these people who were totally, totally different. Um, Even though they were Nigerians, they didn't grow up in Nigerians. They grew up amongst West Indians. So I didn't understand. There was a um, cultural differences. We didn't really understand each other. So let's say that period, I read the most in my whole life. So I would leave the house in the morning and go to the library. That was the only place I knew to go to. And I would read and read and eat, then come back in the evening. So yes, that was a tough one. But I mean, I'm not quite sure because I was a shy child then. So I'm not sure how my mom realized I wasn't flourishing there. So um, I think I probably did a year of holidays there. When after that, I now went to proper British people that specialized in taking children in. So I had nice times there, even though they were, English and all that. You know, I was very comfortable. I was well taken care of, and they made sure I had a nice time during my holidays. Yeah,
Okay, so
I
this
didn't
was
really.
in between when you were on end of term holidays in between
Yes, end
the
of
school
term.
terms.
So when I'm in school, I'm in school, but you
Right,
need to go for holidays.
correct.
So that was the issue. Yeah.
So did you have any sense of abandonment in all of this? You couldn't come home between the holidays, you couldn't reconnect with your family, and
No, what she did after that first year, I did feel a bit of abandonment, I must say. But after that first year, and I think it was the first year I had that experience as well with the other family that where I said there was a cultural difference.
Mhm.
After that, she started bringing me home every holiday.
Okay.
So every long holiday, I was back in Nigeria, which I think was very good for me. Very, very good. Back in Nigeria every holiday. So 3 times a year, I was back home. Yes, so that
So
helped.
what comes next, or what came next after boarding school?
So after boarding school, so I did my O's, my A's, and after A's, I came back to Nigeria, did my uni in Nigeria, University of Lagos, and then as a pharmacy graduate, you have to work under supervision for 1 year. So I worked in a pharmacy, or should I say, a couple of pharmacies, and then I returned to the UK. So after 1 year of working, I returned to the UK.
Why? What led to that decision to return to the UK?
Money. Show me the money. It took me when I was doing my internship, right? It took me a year, nearly a year, to save up for my TV. And I was like, okay, now 1 year to save up for my TV. How long is it going to take me to save up for the car? So it wasn't a major decision. It was fueled by my car. I was like, I need a
So
car.
how long did it take you to save up for your ticket to leave the country?
You'll be surprised that I had an auntie who gave me a loan. So I took a loan.
Okay. So
So
you took a
and I paid
loan.
her back.
What was the plan for the UK? You knew, okay, I needed to go make some money as a result
Yeah,
of the stronger value
yeah,
of the pounds. So go
yes.
go
As
make
far
the
back as
money in the
then, can
pound.
you imagine?
So
Yeah,
how did that go?
went very well actually. Because what I did as soon as I got back, got to England, I got my loan. I got a job in a hospital to work as a pharmacy technician. Even though I was trained as a pharmacist, you can't, because it's our specialty, you need to be licensed. So I was able to get a job in a hospital as a technician, and the head of pharmacy there encouraged me, although I wanted to anyway, and he really encouraged me to do the pharmacy exams.
Somewhere along the line, you decided you wanted to go back and get a business degree. What informed that? Why?
Okay. I had been working for 10 years, yes, in England as a pharmacist. And I was bored stiff. I was really, really, really bored. And funny enough, I've always wanted to do business when I was in uni. Part of our pharmacy degree, the very last year, they give you a taste of business. So like just a little course in business. And I really, really wanted to do business. First of all, I couldn't afford it anyway. And I didn't have the time, because I needed to work to be able to do it. So I've always I had it at the back of my mind, I would like to do a business degree. So by the time I worked for 10 years as a pharmacist in the UK, and I was bored stiff, and I decided to start it, and I could afford it by that time. So I started taking part-time classes. And at that time, because I had worked so long, I could easily get locum jobs. So I would determine when and where I wanted to work. So because my employment was so flexible, my timing was so flexible, I could do my master's, so which is what I did.
And what did you have any plans or objectives for what you were going to do with the degree, or you just wanted to learn?
Not just wanted to learn. I wanted a bit more than I was doing. A bit more. I wanted to be involved in management. Running a company. Not just being the pharmacist. Although they call you a pharmacy manager, really you're just really managing the practice of pharmacy, and that was it. I wanted a bit more than that, and also what I found in pharmacy is that the pharmacy degree, and I think it also happens to medicine too, they shield you from real life. So anytime you want to find out about things in the business world, they're like, oh, not to worry. So you find us scientists not knowing anything about the business world, and I didn't want to be like that anymore. I wanted to know what was going on with the stock when I'm watching the financial news or papers. I understood what was going on. If I wanted to understand the property market, I understood what was going on.
So when did you decide to return back to Nigeria? Because you were obviously making the money, and what triggered that desire to return?
It was a combination of two major things. One, I'm very good. Well, I am very good at analyzing things. So I sat down, analyzed my life, and I thought to myself, I had reached a plateau in terms of my career. I wasn't moving. Even with my MBA, they're not interested. Because I understand I'm a foreigner. Am I going to step on so many heads to get to the top?
So you'd hit the glass ceiling.
Yes, I definitely had hit the glass ceiling. Yes. They will keep giving me jobs as a pharmacy manager, but really, what does a pharmacy manager do? So I wanted a bit more than that, and I knew I wasn't going to get it. Then also because we were living outside London, so in the village, I didn't think anything was going to happen there, because then my husband is in a medical field, so that was where the jobs were taking him. So I really couldn't do any major things in that place. So, and then I looked at my children, I worked in the community. So when you work in a community, you see people, you understand people. So I understood the country I was living in very well. I understood the people, and I thought to myself, I don't want my child growing up here. I really didn't want my children growing up. First of all, they might grow up with a complex, and they would grow up according to what was going on in their area, because I moved around a lot as a pharmacist in the UK, a lot. And one thing I realized is that every society, the children influence themselves. So you cannot say you're going to raise your children a certain way. That area where your children are being brought up, your children would imbibe that culture, would imbibe the behavior in that area. And I saw so many things, so many issues, so many societal issues, and which made me decide that this is not where I want my child to grow up. They can come back when they've grown up, when they're more matured. And when I looked at myself, I was sent to England when I was 14, but by 14 I was very confident. Nigeria makes it very confident. So I was very confident. So if, in fact, to the extent that when one of my teachers showed me a song, very fantastic tune, the song she wanted to use for our Christmas carol service, and one of it, that particular one had Jesus Christ is coming, we hope he's not black. I didn't have an issue with it. Do you understand? Because I was like, I'm okay with being black. So as she was singing, we hope he's not black, I was like, I hope he's black. Luckily, some other people heard it and they quickly removed the song. But I didn't have an issue. But had I grown up in England, didn't know anything else, and somebody is coming to me and singing that type of song, I would be very depressed. But being in Nigeria, I didn't have issues. I mean, there was a time when they were all getting drunk. I don't know, somebody got access to some alcohol and they were all getting drunk. I was like, what's wrong with these stupid children? Cider. When in my house, where I'm coming from, my mother would be like, okay, you taste this little whiskey. Don't drink it all. It's not good for you. Just taste it so that you know what it tastes like. Taste this one. Taste this brandy. So, so when I now got to England and they were now jumping up and down for cider, I was like, now, wow. I had that confidence coming from Nigeria. And I thought to myself, I don't want my children to be like this, I have to give them a better chance. So, yes. So
it sounds like it was twofold. It was your career, and then it was your family.
Yes.
Those were the two key drivers that made you realize, I gotta shift. I gotta go back home.
Yeah. Yes.
So how did you then start to make that transition once you decided you needed to relocate?
Once we decided, being a Christian, I was a little bit scared. At that time, we were a bit scared of returning to Nigeria. For people were saying so many nasty things about Nigeria. You don't want to come home. Is this, is that, So I was a bit scared. So I prayed about it. I actually went off to a nunnery of all places, would you believe? Just to spend a weekend, to just clear my head and think and pray. And during that time I spent there, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 days, I can't even remember. I was clear that, it was okay for me to go. And then we started strategizing, how are we going to do this, because you don't want to be dependent on people. How do we sort ourselves out? So we gave ourselves a few years, maybe 2 or 3 years to round up. And I would visit and check out, property prices and, school fees and all those sort of things, whenever I had time. And we did that for like a couple of years, and we made the move. We didn't want to wait till the children were older, because we had done some research that once a child hits 7, it's not going to be easy to try and pull them off of their environment,
Right.
Rather 7 was a good age. A teenage years, just preteens, more difficult, because they're more rooted,
So at this time, how many children did you have, and how old were they at
3.
the time of them?
3. 753.
753. Okay. So you've done your sleuthing and identified the property prices, the school fees, and how did you execute the move? How did that go, the relocation?
It wasn't so difficult in that it wasn't so difficult, but Nigeria can be challenging. For instance, we were introduced to a shipping stroke clearing agent. So shipping was no problem. We shipped everything we needed to ship, all our everything. We got a container, so everything went into the container. They came to our house, emptied the house. We sold the house. It took a while to sell the house, so we're a bit anxious. But we're like, oh my god, we won't have money if we can't sell this. So yes, we very last minute we sold it and put everything in the container back to Nigeria. But then he got to Nigeria to clear it was a problem. Imagine 3 months of living out of a suitcase. It was not a good experience. Living with other people because I mean we didn't have anything. So in the end, I just said, I can't do this anymore. We rented a place. We put one mattress there and one fridge, and got a cooker. That's all you need. So we moved into our own place. I mean, our own rented place as opposed to being with relatives. And 3 months we were able to get our stuff, and we rented for a few months. And I said to myself, we are not going to stay renting for long. And he was like, oh, how are we going to do that? And we whatever. We looked for places. For instance, we had bought a place from the government. Everything looks nice on paper. We got there, it was dreadful. I mean, it was so bad. So whilst I was there, feeling sorry for myself, one chap comes, strutting up and down the place, and this is an estate, and he was like, "Oh," so I was like, "How you? This place is so, there's so much work to be done here." He's like, that's how you do it now. It's those people that have just come from abroad that know nothing, they sell it to. So, so that's immediately I just thought, nah, so we got rid of the property, so we sold it. So then we now had to look for a place. We didn't want to go through the stress of building from scratch, and because that can be very stressful in Nigeria. But anyway, whatever we did too was just as stressful. So in the end, we couldn't afford. It was so funny that we were at this estate. It's like we had come before, checked the prices. By the time we returned, the prices had almost doubled. Nigeria is a crazy place. Sometimes we're like, what? From one year to another, price. So all the our expectations were sort of dashed a little bit. So we were like, okay, how do we get the property we needed? So in this estate, we just felt, oh, we'll buy something there. Every time we put money together to get something, the prices shifted upwards. In fact, when we tried about twice, just kept on going up and up. So I said no.
When you say the prices kept going up, what do you mean? Because they give you a
Literally
number.
go up. You would see something 35 million today. Tomorrow, that same thing is 40. Go back another few months, it is 50. So is that bad? It was that bad. So we just thought, okay, no. So let's just get something. Just get on the ladder. I remember from England, they just tell you just get on the ladder. So okay, let's just get on the ladder. So really, which is what we did, which was like a shell. So we were able to get a shell in a swamp. So we were able to get somebody to help us at least, get the shell done so we can stay in a portion of it. So I thought, okay, if we can get the shell done up, do the electrical work, the plumbing and whatnot, then maybe we'll stay in a particular section or whatnot. But I like the chap. He pushed us and pushed us and pushed us till we finished it. So yes, we were able to go into our own thing within less than a year. Yes, that was it.
So when your husband began his business, his practice, I believe he's an ophthalmologist.
Yes, yes, the
When
nice
when he
specialist.
began his business, how did that go? I believe you were involved in helping set that up.
Yes, yes, yes.
How was that experience?
Funny enough, because I started working straight away with another company, with
Okay.
a pharmaceutical company, and one as a business development manager. So one of the things I needed to do was start up pharmacies for them. So as I was looking, we found a place that was not suitable for a pharmacy or suitable for a clinic. So I was able to get, and it was a good location. So I was able to get that for my husband's clinic. And I remember we were thinking, oh, maybe he would work with some other people before starting on his own. From where I was working at that time, there was a doctor. It was the person I was working for was starting up clinics and starting up pharmacies. So the person working was like, "Why do you want to work with anybody? Just go and start your own," you know. So that's how he just started. And yeah, and it was a good location, and because he had all the skills that was not in that was not widely available. So people, I know Nigeria, once they will try you out, word of mouth, and with time, we've moved from that place to much. I can't even imagine how we've coped in that place, but yes, from that place we've moved to a much bigger place, and by God's grace, we'll go to another bigger place. Yes.
So there were some transaction issues that you encountered um, with between the staff and
Oh
somewhere
yes.
along the line. You want to share that experience?
Oh yes, that was not. Yes, my husband, has a very good balance, on work and play and exercise. He's always been good at, cutting. When he works very hard. Can't talk to him. And then when he finishes work at a certain time, he goes to go and play his tennis. So we've always had, we had an optometrist, we had a receptionist. So what was going on was, as he was going off, the optometrist was seeing his own clients, using our equipment and property and everything. Then the receptionist would, we had at that time, we were not digital, so we had a triplicate receipt book. So there would be one invoice for us and one invoice for her and another invoice for records. So she had been doing this for quite a while, actually. So one day, for whatever reason, my husband couldn't go for tennis. So he waited behind, and a client came asking for her glasses, and he just could not find records. Then when he even found something, he was like, she had a different price than what was in his books, much higher than what was in his books. And then he started looking at things and I realized that, oh my God, parallel businesses were going on. They were selling, they were using the same supplier to have supply people glasses. So if people come and say, oh, this one is expensive, it's okay, we'll get you another one at a slightly cheaper price, and then so that one they will sell to that one directly. I know Nigerian people don't really think that, how can I come to a place called a certain name and somebody is selling to me with a different name. So as long as they get something cheaper, they just go. So this lady, really wiped up a lot of our efforts. And the chap that was seeing his patients, highbrow area, because we had to pay a lot more money to get a highbrow area. So it was in this highbrow area, seeing his own clients, prescribing his own glasses and medication, and making it, basically like a little. So we had two parasites, in short.
I love that parasite.
Yes, it took us a while to realize. Yes, it was a smart one.
So somewhere along the line, you start working with a hospital. You're the
Yes.
pharmacy head of the
Yes.
hospital.
Yes.
Tell us about that experience and your
It was a
efforts there.
wonderful experience. That was a very interesting time for me. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of hard work. And it was a great opportunity to understand Nigerian people. Because all this while coming to Nigeria, I kept on thinking I was very Nigerian. It was when I came to Nigeria, I started living amongst Nigeria, I realized my thought process was very different. I was not an average Nigerian. I was not a typical Nigerian.
I would need to pause you there and help us understand what you mean by that. Can you break that down for us a little bit?
Oh, wow. How do I break it down? I didn't think like the average Nigerian. I didn't reason like the average Nigerian. A lot of things I didn't do like the average Nigerian. So you are black like them. You speak the same language, but you reason differently. Reasoning was so different. So I was very stressed. The first year was extremely stressful. Extremely stressful. I have to say that. And yes, I had to sit down and think to myself that because I had decided I would try not to give myself a plan B. I developed a bit of cold feet. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll have a business going on in the UK that I'll be earning pounds, that this is crazy. I can't cope with this. So my plan B kind of didn't really work. So I was like, oh my God, I was a bit scared that, this is really crazy. Because the thought process was just so different. And I found that I was arguing with so many people, really arguing, from just going to the bank, they would mess up something. They would now be sending me on errands. I'm like, I'm your customer. You need my services. You have my money. You can't send me on errands to be going up and down steps. You sort it out. So you can imagine there's so many people. I remember once going to a bank when my husband has sent me some dollars. And there's this huge advert about if you go there, you collect your dollars for dollars, right? So I go there, and then the bank rate was very much lower than the parallel market. So I go to the bank to collect my dollars, for instance, like they advertised. Then they were giving me naira at a much reduced rate. So I'm like, you said you marketed yourself that you will give us dollars for dollars. Why am I getting naira? They were like, no, there's no dollar. You just have to take it. I was like, no way, Jose. I need to see your manager. So they were like, no, manager is not. I said, you're running this bank. There's nobody in charge. So I put my foot down and I said, I'm not going anywhere till this is resolved. I'm going to leave this place with the currency you promised me, and I'm going to see somebody who is in charge and sort this out. So they're not used to that. So quickly, they got rid of me by giving me my dollars. Meanwhile, I saw one elderly man. They did the same thing to him. He was, okay, thank you. I was like, what? I ain't going to take that. So that's the sort of thing that I mean, And like, for instance, I remember when I was working in my job, for instance, first of all, I saw so much chaos. And so I'm like, wow, there's so much chaos here. So I sat down and thought logically about it. And I realized that people don't like things to be very logical or clean. The chaos is actually deliberate, because there's so much more you can achieve in a chaotic environment, if you know what I mean. And I wasn't going to allow that. And people, what I found funny is that people would do something wrong and you correct them, and people will come to you and say, but that person is your friend. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't stop me being friends with them, but they did something wrong. So I can't allow that to happen. So they couldn't relate you not accepting something that was wrong. You saying you won't accept something that is wrong. They could not relate it to, this person is your friend. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way, So I think the people knew what they were doing, putting me, someone like me in the midst of these people, because it was a tough one. But and I just couldn't think in a different way. I just couldn't. And so it was a bit, initially it was a bit difficult, but because I couldn't think, it's like when you cannot think in a different way. I was like, no, this is not going to happen. It's just like, I was able to analyze a section, and I realized that, in fact, let's say, for instance, they were saying they needed 100 of something, okay? And I realized that, and I analyzed them for the last, how many months and years, that really they didn't need more than 5. And I promptly gave them 5 and kept the remaining 95. And it was a whole horror. How dare you? I'm like, prove to me you need this. You can't. So I'm not going to leave this. And this is very expensive. So we're going to make this organized, do this in an organized manner, and sort things out. So, and people were like, as the person, you don't want the person to eat, I remember once when I analyzed, for instance, we used to give staff free medication, for instance, and there's no problem with that. But because I analyze everything we do, I analyze it. So I drawn the graphs for various months. Every month I analyze everything, our expenditure, our income, and all the people that got the freebies and whatnot. And I realized that it started to jump, really jump. And I'm like, so I went to the HR, do we have more staff in here? I can't see that many people. Are there new people in the system? No. Does anybody have cancer? No. So why the jump? Anyway, we were able to trace prescriptions and realize it was one chap. I'm not sure if he was, and he was a doctor. So I'm not sure if he was fitting out a pharmacy of his own, but he was cutting out huge amounts. And what was interesting was that, after we found him, confronted him, and he was obviously removed from the system, do you know, people were eyeing me and hissing and how I was so horrible, that the person had just even married, had a child, and I just couldn't figure it out. That why would people think this way? But the funny thing about the whole thing was when the people that were with me when I was doing the analysis, I went to them that, he forged your signature, he forged this one signature and that one. That's when I was like, ooh. And they started being friendly to me again. So we things like that. So it's a funny old thing. But despite all that, I remember once I had a challenge with people trying to force me to use cash to buy. I was also, for some reason, they put me in charge of procuring diesel. So, and that had its own challenges as well. So I was able to do my research, find out, okay, how do hotels cope? Why can't this hospital cope? So I found out how hotels cope and everything. So set up the system, calibrated tanks, wrote contracts for vendors, and the management did not want cash transactions. Cash transactions, that's the easiest way to move money. So they didn't want that. But what was funny was that they kept on putting pressure on me to buy cash one day. And because I had that agreement with my management, and I wasn't going to put cash down. And they were like, oh, people are going to die, And I was like, I don't think so. So anyway.
So you were out of diesel and you needed to buy more diesel. And
yes, and we had been told
that the transaction be conducted with cash. Okay.
Cash. And I said no. But technically, we were not out of diesel because I was not there physically. I was being told we were out of diesel. But from my analysis, we shouldn't be out of diesel, if you see what I mean. But I was not physically there. So they were putting pressure on me where I was. So I'm like, I don't think we should be out. And in any case, management says don't buy with cash. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I knew evening time we would need diesel. So I contacted somebody who's going to supply the diesel. And I was now arriving back at the hospital to get the person to dispense the diesel. And would you believe what happened? They blocked the gates and they all disappeared.
They blocked the gates to stop the diesel truck entering the premise to refill the tank.
Yes.
Why is that?
So they were going to get me. So they blocked everything. So it's like they got their own diesel person to put a tank and block the gate. So nothing can enter. And this is me in the evening returning to the hospital, and everything was blocked. But one I want you to realize about Nigeria is like the people that do all these naughty things, there are just a few of them. Do you know that I never even knew they noticed me? The security guards, they had been there for years, and even today I don't even know their names, but I'll just nod, greet them, and walk by. When I get, being in procurement, people just keep giving you gifts. So I had to put them off giving me gifts. So whenever they give me gifts, I waste it in front of them. I give to other people, so they know that this person is not interested in these gifts. And do you know that man just whispered in my ear, say, "Madam, there's another way of getting your diesel tank into the hospital." Whispered, and gradually showed me a unused building behind the hospital, which was even nearer the tank. And that's how we were able to dispense the tank that day. So they were shocked in the morning. And these people were all smiles and be in the morning. "Oh, good morning, Mr. Good morning." Well, yes, you have to be tough. Don't take it personally, but just be smart.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So when did you decide you were going to start your own pharmacy? And
when did I decide?
Step away from being an employee and take back control of your fate?
I decided at the time when I was more confident, because prior to that, being abroad, the way they depict Nigeria, they actually make you extremely scared of Nigeria. So you're so scared of everything. So at that time I was much more confident. And then what really pushed me was I felt I wasn't being appreciated. Sometimes in Nigeria, they don't treat people well, especially when they think you are under them, certain people, when they think they're under them. And I don't know, maybe I just felt I wasn't being treated well and being appreciated. And I wasn't going to take it anymore. And so it was like, okay, so what are you going to do? Because I was like, and I was bored of pharmacy. Remember, I was bored of pharmacy. Right. And I just didn't know what to do. I knew I needed to leave what I was doing, but all I knew of was I didn't know what to do. I was even going to try my hand in banking, but Nigeria is very ageist. So I wasn't getting any opportunity in the banking world, and I just didn't know what to do with myself. So my sister introduced me to somebody who was in HR who sat me down, and we went through so many things. And she had told me that, your strength is pharmacy. So basically just look for what you can do that you enjoy in pharmacy. So I just decided, and then I also wanted to be independent. I said, okay, if I left my work, how would I make adequate money? I looked at the pharmacies around me. I wasn't too happy that how they making it. They all look so, drab. How they making it? So I said, well, let me just give it a try and at least do something, So really, no big aspirations. I just gave it a try. I didn't have any big aspirations whatsoever.
And how has it been so far?
It's been fantastic. It's been like a journey of adventures, of self-discovery. I'm learning so much. I'm doing so much. And then one thing I realized in all these years, when we're abroad all these years, you actually underestimate your experience and your knowledge. You underestimate what you know. I remember just ordinary putting things together, talking to an IT person in the hospital and telling them how to block loopholes and how to trace drugs around the hospital. It just came to me naturally. I didn't realize I had that in me. So a lot of things we've taken for granted, we're not realizing that it's actually something we've been gifted, we've experienced, we can share with other people. So yeah, it wasn't so difficult, once you realize that there's so much knowledge there that is lying dormant. That's the word, lying dormant, that you can use, you can call upon, and you can do so much. And Nigeria is such a virgin ground. You have an idea, try it out. Do you understand? It's like that. There's so many things. Sometimes I have to stop my brain to not think of things. There's so many opportunities. So many ideas will come to your head. And then the opportunities to work on the ideas are there. So it's constant. It's a constant. So you just have to decide which one you want to focus on, so you don't become.
So how did skincare come into the picture?
I've always been into making skincare. To be quite honest, I used to skincare, looking after hair and all that. When I was in uni, I did a lot of that for my sisters, playing around. And I remember when I went back to England after finishing my degree, my sister was like, "You can't go to England and you say you're doing skin anything. Just focus on pharmacy." So I focused on pharmacy. I didn't touch anything skincare. So when I returned to Nigeria, I didn't really touch anything skincare. But it just kept on. When you have a bug, it just keeps bugging you. So I just kept on trying it out. Initially, I was selling for a professor in my uni used to make things, so I would sell his products. Then I just kept on being disturbed by NAFDAC. Like, oh, it's not registered. Da, da, da. So I'm like, this is not rocket science. So I would make it, and okay, what is the process? The man does not want to be involved in making it formal. So I just, like, this is not rocket science. I just figured it out, and I started registering the product. So I started with 1, 2, 3, and it just kept on growing. And sometimes as I'm doing something, possibilities will come into your head, and you try it out and it will work, or you fiddle around, it will work. So as you try something out, my hand sanitizer, this was before Ebola came. I remember, because when I was in the hospital, we just had to be importing. And I was like, this doesn't make sense for us to be importing hand sanitizer. So I just sat down one day, went online, found WHO, figured it out, and that's how we started making it. So that was my first product, actually, just before Ebola. I even went to Lagos State hospitals. I was like, look, you don't have sanitizers in the hospital. Why don't we work together, collaborate, and start doing this? It sort of rebuffed me. They just pushed me around. In the end, I just said, okay, let me just do this thing myself. And as soon as not so long after I did it, that's when we had the Ebola crisis and whatnot, So yes, it's just incidental. I just tried, because I persevere. And I can push things through, Nigeria, you need to persevere, because I don't know why people just like putting people off achieving whatever they want to do. So where I see that is that so some people they don't know where they're going. You know where you're going, so they're just distractions. So I just find a way of removing distractions from my way, and I learn to talk the talk and walk the walk, so that you don't offend people whilst you're pushing them out of the way and getting what you want, so to say.
So did you begin off the bat producing the skin creams in your own units?
Yes.
Including the hand sanitizer? Or did you have to leverage a third party too? help
The
you out.
hand sanitizer, I had to leverage a third party, and it was a terrible experience. A terrible, terrible experience. I'll tell you why. Because at the time when I was doing it, nobody was even interested, and man reluctantly did it. Then Ebola came, so it's like, oh wow, so they just wouldn't produce my product. Oh, we're too busy. Oh, we're not making exactly the same thing as you. We're just putting a little bit of red color inside it. I would go and supply my producer who was supplying in the same place. So it was not a good experience. They really did mess me
So
up a lot.
let me understand this. So they were plagiarizing your product.
Correct.
And positioning it under their own label or their own brand.
Yes, correct. It was so bad that even there was a time when someone wanted me to produce, huge amount for some state, and next thing I knew, the man was going there to do it for them, and so I threatened them. I'm like, I'll sue you to court because I'm the one that owns this. This chap cannot just turn around and start doing this. So, but yeah, so I learned from that experience to try to do things myself. So that's why actually I would not have had the confidence to start. Actually, everything I did and became really successful in it is because I was pushed to doing it. It's like I'll be scared of something, then something will happen, and I'm like, I'm not taking this. And then I decided that, so it took me a while to get NAFDAC, which is our regulatory agent, to accept my location, because they kept on saying, oh, you need a big place, you need this, you need that. I'm like, I don't have the money. And why should I go for big places? But eventually, I kept on disturbing them because they will fob me off. I will go back, I will write to them, I will explain myself. I just kept on returning and returning. So in the end, one of them was like, actually, when she goes to inspect factories in other countries, they have small spaces in some of these places. So let her start in a small place too. So that's how they said, can I find a small place to do it? Even the first one told me to go to the regulatory agency for pharmacy. They were like, no, it's a retail pharmacy. I cannot start producing inside retail pharmacy. So I went back to them. I said, those ones have rebuffed me. So they were like, okay, can you find a small space near your pharmacy outside? I said, yes. So they came and said, okay, fine, you can start with this. We'll call you a micro cottage industry, something like that. So yeah, that's how they encourage me. They'll say, okay. Then they'll say, okay, you can make up to 3 products, and then they'll come again, inspect. Okay.
How many years did this whole process take?
About 4 years. 4
years.
But during that 4 years, I was doing it. I was making it. If you come to my pharmacy, you can buy it. Because at the end of the day, I saw myself, I'm licensed to produce. That's what my license says. So I'll produce for my pharmacy. So 4 years for me to be able to commercialize it. So I had a relationship with a dermatologist. So they will send people to me to buy from us. So we will produce in our pharmacy. And we're still doing that till today. But to commercialize our products, some of our products, it took about 4 years. Initially, they told us to go to some incubator center. We went there. After wasting 1 year, they now said, oh, the standard is not good enough. You have to return. So yes, wasted time. But during that time, it wasn't wasted that I was doing my own stuff. Because I'm licensed to produce, only that I cannot start selling in various states and whatnot.
So what's the typical duration for obtaining a NAFDAC license, if there's a typical? What's
That's a very beautiful question. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe NAFDAC will go and listen to your podcast.
Just curious.
They claim 3 months.
3 months, okay.
On average, it takes me a year and a half, 2 years. I don't know.
Okay.
It takes a long time.
So what's been the... Please go on.
No, it's not that even just a 1 year or you're sitting down, you're waiting for them to get to you. You have to keep going. Okay, which table? Has he entered lab? Okay, lab. Hey, has he gone from this place? assistant director, you do that one. Then you'll be talking to the have they brought it to Isol or the head office? Okay, whose table is it on now? You will not be following, you know.
So it
But
can be hands off. You've got to really pursue.
yes.
You're
But
actually
over the years,
employed by NAFDAC over that period of time.
oh yes. But I've been very fortunate that I've met a lot of over the hustle. Anyway, I've met a lot of NAFDAC people that they kind of help me. They're like, okay, but I'll go here, go there.
Formed some relationships that's now
Yes,
enable.
yes. So they've been able to guide me along the line, because a lot of people just get they say they're getting consultants. So I remember them saying to me, madam, just learn how to do this instead of using consultants, so that people don't mess you up. You need to understand first.
So how's the skincare how are your skincare products doing? How's the business doing?
It's picking up.
What's the name of your skincare product?
Skin Science by Pharmasolutions.
Okay.
Skin
and
Science.
What exactly is it for? Psoriasis, or is just across the board?
It's mainly in that line, actually, acne. So we have products for acne. We have benzoyl peroxide face wash. We have salicylic acid and glycolic acid and salicylic acid face wash, which you can use for acne. Also, you can use to maintain your skin, to sort of exfoliate the skin. So we have for psoriasis and eczema, we have things like emollient bath wash. We have a moisturizing cream, hydrating moisturizing cream. We have face wash which we call gentle face wash for people that have burns. Sometimes maybe they've used a product that doesn't go with them, or they've overdone things. Too much bleaching, too much, or used an adulterated cream. Whatever the case may be, we have a gentle face wash, and also it's good for hydration. If the older you get, the drier your face gets, so that helps. So it doesn't dry you out, but just cleanses you. So, and we've got for dermatophytes, we've got a whole range of salicylic acid and sulfur ointments. So we've got various strengths. Then for very dry skin, we've got urea cream, various strengths as well. So.
And where can people find your products?
I have a website. We also have our pharmacies. We have 4 pharmacy branches, so you can get them from any of our pharmacies. We have a dedicated line too for skin science products, but you can get them from any of our pharmacies. We supply wholesalers around Lagos. We also supply pharmacies directly, and beauty clinics. So a lot of beauty clinics get from us. Also, what we also do, we also compound things for beauty clinics and on prescription from dermatologists. So we do that as well. So you can get our products directly from us, from wholesalers, from pharmacies, from aesthetic clinics. All this, we do that. We also have sunscreen. We're the first registered sunscreen in Nigeria. So we have our own sunscreen that doesn't leave white marks, and it's moisturizing. So you don't need a moisturizing cream with it, So sunscreen is pretty, it's quite popular. Our things are doing pretty well.
So shifting gears, what has been the community impact of all that you do? I mean, whether it's with the beauty care or whether it's with the pharmacy. How has the work you've done impacted the community or given back to the community?
Oh, giving back. Oh, in my uni, luckily my uni is in Lagos. Excuse me, it's Lagos. So been able to do quite a lot of support, give a lot of support to them there. We also train people. We give work experience to students from there. Apart from the supporting them for various projects they do, we also train the students. We also give internships, another form of training, but internship leads to your license. So we do that. We also train students that just come for a few months just to gain work experience. So we do that a lot. Yes, we try and get involved in whatever our association, there's an association of community pharmacists. So we try and be pretty involved in that, and, involved in various people that want to do, what do they call it? Outreaches. So try and support people that want to do outreach within the environment.
So, as you look back and you reflect, what advice or guidance would you give to those who may be listening and wanting to achieve what you've achieved so far or walk in a similar footstep?
I'll say just give it a try. Don't. It's very easy not to try things. Very easy to just be thinking, oh, it'll be too difficult. People are too nasty. It's too scary. Honestly, it's so easy to give up. There are challenges. By no means there are challenges. But what I found in life, for every challenge I have encountered, I've been able to do great things. And I'm like, wow. I remember, I was just thinking about a few people that have been really horrible, made life so difficult for me. And I'm like, wow, had this person not done this, I would not have started my business. Had this person not done this, I would not have built my first office block. Had this person not done this, so many challenges. And I just like, wow, this horrible person, I'm going to do it myself. So, yes, don't think a challenge means you cannot do whatever needs to be done. Just sit down and think, and push on. There will always be somebody will leave a little hole, little gap open for you to squeeze past. I remember where we are now. We're talking from this block of offices. My landlord, I remember him really making life made my life miserable. Told me to get out, to write nasty letters, would make life so difficult for me and the other tenants. And then I was like, wow, what am I going to do? Had to go and beg him, give me more money. Oh, what do you want, sir? I'll give him, everything. Then, I was even begging. I said, okay, can I buy, when he was like, he was going to sell the property, I was like, please, can I buy the ground floor where my pharmacy is? He laughed at me that who buys flats in Nigeria? Please, madam, go and sit down. Go and, if you don't have the money, you can. So I felt as if I was thinking small. Then something just clicked. I'm like, what is it to build? So that's how I spent 1 year looking for land around the area. When we got the land, I'm like, how are we going to do this? And because you have land, something will come up. Okay, here's a bit of money you can, borrow. You two, you have a bit of savings put together, and you just start. And once you start, okay, everything okay. I can try this again and again. It's so don't think people having challenges is the end of it. Think of it as, oh wow, if I'm having a challenge, there must be a bright spark at the back of it. That's where I see it. And when people are difficult, especially those government officers and regulators, and they are difficult. We call them evil servants. They can be difficult, but God always finds a way. He will give you a good one that can help you. They might make life a bit difficult. It might take a bit longer, especially if you're not ready to do so many things. Take a bit longer. But you know what? Something will happen. Don't give up. Just keep going. And sometimes when you realize the whole thing, these people are going to really overstress you. Don't just be humble. I've knelt down for one of our regulator before. When I realized for 3 years they just kept on disturbing, I just knelt down. I said, please, madam, I don't know what to do anymore. Just give me my bill. Let me pay to the government. I know what I'm looking for from God. I cannot do this. Please, just let. The woman looked at me and said, just be going. So luckily that doesn't happen so often, But just keep at it. You can do it. It's a tough environment. I'm not going to say it's not tough. It's tough. but it's also a very rewarding environment. Very rewarding, very rewarding. I know someone that their child, I just don't want to talk to, that the child couldn't find a job abroad. But here, you know, you just be in one place. Yes, but I work in Deloitte. Please, my child is looking for work in Deloitte. Come and work. Hey, we even need to send somebody to go and represent our office in New York. Okay. You kuku understand them. Come and help us. You won't know. You won't meet those people abroad, though. You meet them, You meet them because they too have their own clique. But here you are first class citizen, so you in the right clique, So I would say, give things a try. And if it doesn't work, I mean, we came back home with a lot of our friends. Some of them returned, Some returned back to England and then came when they retired. Some returned, but still, left a base and they come and go. In fact, a lot of them come and go. They will sort of work for set practices, especially doctors, and then go back to England or wherever they're coming from, work a little bit there as well. So there are options, but it's very rewarding. It's very, you feel good. It makes you feel good that you can achieve so much. And especially when you raise people up. One thing I know is that it's also an opportunity to raise people up. You'll be amazed how much you've learned being in the diaspora and to be able to teach other people and raise other people up. Oh, wow, it is so rewarding to be able to help so many people. I mean, I remember one lady, we had some people coming from America to talk to us once, and the girl had been training her for 1 year. She was like, when the Oyibo spoke and said the same thing I was saying, she was like, Mrs. Oyeleye, so what you have been saying is true. My people don't know. So please, it's they really just don't know. I mean, I had to be teaching a manager once how to write address on an envelope. Something as simple as that. I had to be teaching people that if you have a cooler, right? A cooler that, because it's a cooler, the drugs that were meant to be cold chain cannot survive 2 weeks because it's in a cooler. People don't know that. Some people don't know that. Would you believe that? But because you are exposed, you're able to train people, teach people, open people's eyes. So it's an opportunity. There's so much that is lying dormant that you can help other people, train other people, let them benefit from you, Before you know it, what's life all about? Give and take. Somebody gave you, I don't know, somebody put something inside you, and there's so many people out there that need you. And yes, don't look at the challenges. Look at the bright lights. I look at the bright lights, and I'm so happy and very pleased. Yes, I have my good days and bad days, but on the whole, a lot of good days.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Bisi, for sharing your inspiring, motivating journey. It's been quite exciting hearing your journey. And for those of you in our audience, you heard Bisi, there are lots of opportunities. Sometimes you've got to stoop to conquer. Sometimes you just have to be resourceful to navigate around some of these challenges because they do exist out there in the environment. But you have more than you know, and you won't know how much you have or how much you can push through unless you try. So give it a try, give it a shot. Again, I'm Chudi Obiaya, the host of the program. I hope you enjoyed listening to today's episode. If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe. Nice having you. Bye now.